Welcome to this episode of The Good, the Bad and the Odd One Out with your host Mark. Today I'll be talking about David Lynch's first feature, Eraserhead. Right, Eraserhead was made over the course of, I think, 5 or 6 years by David Lynch as a student project or a film school project. And it's amazing that it is made over such a long span because it looks pretty much the same all the way through. You could not tell that things had taken that long to develop. Jack Nance, the main actor in it, looks the same throughout. He's got mad hair. I cannot believe he kept that hair for 6 years. It doesn't look like a wig, it looks real. And I remember David Lynch talking about Jack Nance as being the best actor for this because you could just sit him in a chair with a cigarette, leave him there for hours while he's doing setups, and he was happy. A very Lynchian way of approaching actors. I really, really enjoyed this film. I watched it on Blu-ray recently, and it looked really fantastic. I've always enjoyed this film. I can never quite make it out whether I find it horrific or funny, or in fact, it's all three. It's all two, I should say. This is one of the things about Lynch. He's got just a wonderful artist's eye, and you don't have to know what's going on. You can enjoy it for a century, sort of experience in and of itself. I'm a big fan of David Lynch anyway, and I thought I'd revisit this film because it's been a long time since I watched it, and I thought, was it like I remembered it being kind of semi-mesmeric and feeling horrific, but actually I have to say I laughed more than was horrified watching this film again. I think because I was kind of new that things like worms getting squashed or weird little alien-esque intestinal bug, I don't know, weird things that are going to happen and get squished, and you're going to see some odd stuff. It's just as good as it ever was. It makes a real impact seeing this again. I could definitely recommend the Blu-ray. It looked really nice, really pristine and beautiful. It's really, if they've done any restoration work on this, I don't know if the original prints are still solid or not. It was great. It just looked terrific. Jack Nance was really good. I didn't do much background reading on this, but I think the girl in it is who has the baby or whatever the hell it is. It actually went on to play the log lady in Twin Peaks because they look very similar, but I could be wrong. I didn't research it before doing this, but she kind of reminded me. But all the actors in this are really cool. I did also spot an actor in this that I'd never noticed before. I think his name's, I can't remember what his name is, but he is the lead in John Carpenter's Assault on Precinct 13. He plays the killer that helps the cop, who's called Napoleon Wilson. He was really good in that, and that was the only film I've ever noticed him in before. And I noticed him in a TV show not long ago, an old episode of Alf, where Alf gets put into a dog pound. He plays the guy that runs the pound, and I was like, that's the guy that was in Assault on Precinct 13. And I also noticed he has a very minor part in this, as like the guy that is helping the bloke that purchases a head to be made into erasers. He's like an assistant. He's only on screen less than a minute, but I recognised him from that. It was kind of weird to notice that. I've seen this film several times, and it was odd that I hadn't noticed it before. The bit that I enjoy the most is there's a scene where Henry has to go visit the family of his girlfriend, he finds out then he's a father, if you want to call it that. I don't know. I still don't know what that baby's supposed to be. I heard it described once as like a horse fetus, which is as near to anything as you could describe, and that's really weird. But I'd also forgotten sections of this film that just made me laugh my head off. There's a bit where Henry and the girl are in bed together, and she's like steaming the blankets, and he's trying to, and then suddenly he notices something weird, and he feels something weird behind her. And he pulls on it, and it's like a worm thing. He just pulls it out of her or something. You just don't know. Throws it at the wall, and he starts pulling out more and more. And I've completely forgotten that scene, but I was laughing. It's just so weird and mental. This was definitely a film that he must have made when he had some sort of issues with impending fatherhood or being a father or the thought of fatherhood. It's really, really quite amazing. There are some seminal films that are like the prototypical horror film for a certain type of person. For example, I think for a single man, it's probably Deliverance. For a single woman, it's probably Repulsion. For a married woman, it's probably Rosemary's Baby. And this is the prototypical film of a man who's concerned about embracing maturity, perhaps, and becoming a father. Though it may have a more underlying fear of sex kind of thing. There's definitely some sort of fatherhood, sex issues going on here. What can I say? If you've not seen this film, I'm not sure you're going to like it. You might hate it. Some people do. It's a very love it or hate it kind of thing. The people that like it tend to really like it. The people who hate it think it's just pretentious garbage. It's a matter of opinion. It's art. This is art. It's not entertainment. Well, it is entertainment, but it's moreover it's art than anything else, and it's beautiful. You can see in it all of the things that David Lynch goes on to. His beautiful eye for detail, his beautiful ability to beautifully take pauses and stillness in a scene and use it to give it a much more depth than it really should have. There's something about Lynch, he's a genius. It is a shame that he's really not doing much these days. I believe people just producers or whatever do not know what to do with him, and he's not given work, which is a real tragedy. And after this he went on to make Elephant Man, and you can see elements of the Elephant Man in this for sure. Sorry, I should say it the other way around. You could see elements of this in The Elephant Man for sure. Not just because of the great use of black and white photography. I personally thoroughly recommend this film. I'd put it in the high 80s out of 100, possibly even higher. It's one to see, and I can recommend it if you can relax and you just want to experience something. It definitely also only for adults. Okay then, bye.